offering funds. People called Sheriff Maddox and spoke to Sheriff Maddox directly and said, what funds can we give you? If we need helicopters and you can't afford it, we will pay for it. Why were they turned away?
Wow.
The problem here from the very beginning is that the Sabine County Sheriff's Department, they started off mistaking grief for paranoia. A family was grieving. A family was emotional. If you're not emotional, take your pulse. Okay? And I tried to tell law enforcement from the very beginning, you are mistaking paranoia, you're mistaking grief for paranoia. This is a family who lives in Jasper. They are not going to simply wake up in the morning and turn a blind eye to history, to the implications of the area. They're just not going to. So everything going through their mind is causing a little bit of concern. The other issue is that every single part of what, if we want to call this an investigation, we can. Every single turn it was, there are no signs of foul play.
Yes.
Right? Deputy Ranger Danny Young said there's no signs of foul play here. He told me that I was invited onto the scene the very next day when the Rangers began their investigation. We met and Ranger Young said, you know what, sir, Mr. McLeod, I don't see any signs of foul play. That man's young body is laying just about 100 yards from a residence, from where a wristwatch was found, where a perfectly cut rectangular piece of his clothing was found. His clothing's found at a pasture. His body's found right here, and you're telling me that there are no signs of foul play?
No.
All I see are signs of foul play, and that's disturbing. The sheriff, Sabine County Sheriff's Office didn't find Alfred. They didn't find him. Reverend Lewis and other family members, Mr. Wright, Coach Wright, he was out there. They were searching, and they were searching the area that they were told that they couldn't search. And they said, you know what? That's my son. That's my friend. I'm going. And I'm searching, and they did. And that's when I got a horrible phone call that he had been found. So for the sheriff to come out afterwards, choose your words carefully. As a lawyer, I know that it's important to choose your words carefully. People are listening, okay? His words were, well, at this point, we need to identify the body. That's the most important thing we need to do.
Wow.
No, you don't. You weren't out there. They identified him for you. They found him for you. If you can't do your job, call in somebody that can, okay? The location of where Alfred's body was found, if nothing else raises questions to you or concerns to you, the location of where his body was found alone should. It should. Ranger Rayburn was a ranger assigned out of the Lufkin office who was supposed to come and to take over the investigation. Coach Wright spent the entire night, it was a frigid night on November 25th to 26th, spent the entire night just yards away from his son's body. And Ranger Rayburn, they invited me the next morning to come out there, invited the family to come out there, not to the crime scene, but just to the general area. And I spoke to Ranger Rayburn and I said, look, I know a forensic pathologist who has impeccable credentials. She's extremely good at what she does. She works for law enforcement. She has nothing in this. She wants to seek the truth. I said, would it be possible for her to be present at the first autopsy? And I was told, well, our policy does not allow for that. And I said, well, after the first autopsy is conducted, can Dr. Grossberg please review your preliminary autopsy results, the autopsy photographs, to give her a better idea of what was done the first time, the toxicology report when it becomes available, as well as the final autopsy reports. And his response to me, and it just rang, it was the best thing that I'd heard through the course of this investigation, was, sir, I completely agree. I think that's a great idea. 2 minds are better than 1.
Wow.
That was the day before Thanksgiving. Okay, so the day before Thanksgiving, I'm able to call Miss Wright, the family, and say, I'm hopefully gonna get you some answers soon. Okay, that's my job. I'm hopefully gonna get you some answers soon. I can tell you that today, Dr. Grossberg still has a job to do. And she's waiting for law enforcement to let her do that job. You know, first we're told we're not gonna get the preliminary autopsy results. That's on Monday. And then we're told, okay, we're gonna get them. So overnight we switch. Dr. Grossberg has been reaching out to the ME's office in Jefferson County saying, can I please just speak to you? Can I please look at the first autopsy photographs? she's called them. And I've said, as a professional courtesy, if they cannot speak to Dr. Grossberg, if for some reason they cannot, just return her phone call. Just tell her, I'm very sorry. Would you please let the family know that we are very sorry, but we cannot share that information with you. That has not been done. I can tell you right now, I have the utmost respect for the Texas Rangers. I have worked with them on both sides. I've worked with them as a prosecutor. I've worked with them as a plaintiff's attorney. I know that they are capable of doing a good job. I know that they're one of the finest law enforcement agencies, not in this nation, but in the entire world. I know that. But I also know that we need someone from that agency, if in fact they are the ones doing the investigation. It's been 2 weeks since we've heard from law enforcement. I actually wrote a letter on Monday that I'll make available. That was to Ranger Rayburn, because my understanding, that was the last communication that I had with anyone from law enforcement. And law enforcement certainly can contact anyone with this family. And this was the letter that I wrote, and I addressed our concerns. As of today, I have not heard anything. This family has not received a phone call. And so what I'm asking for right now is that whoever's investigating, whoever it may be, if it's the Texas Rangers, we need someone who has courage. Okay? We need someone who has a backbone, who will come out and who will do a full and fair investigation. This family, any other family who would be in their situation, deserves nothing less. A full and fair investigation. The memory of Alfred Wright is important. He was a child of God. We will not let him be forgotten. We will seek answers. We will seek the truth. We will seek justice. But I am simply reaching out to law enforcement. Do your job. Not for me, for this family and for this community. At this time, I'm going to turn over to Dr. Grossberg. She is a forensic pathologist. Her credentials are impeccable, and I will let her address you momentarily.
As Mr. McLeod said, my name is Dr. Leanne Grossberg. I'm a board-certified forensic pathologist out of Houston, and I was asked to perform a second autopsy on the body of Alfred Wright, which I did. And based on the information I have thus far, I have a high index of suspicion that this is a homicide, and I base that opinion on the circumstances surrounding the death, how and where the body was found, and my findings at autopsy. But I do want to let you know this is only a preliminary opinion, and I cannot reach a definitive conclusion about the cause and manner of death until I am provided additional information.
Thank you, Dr. At this time, any questions that you have, we will attempt to answer to the best of our abilities.
It seemed like the Texas Rangers might actually get something done here. When I think a lot of people may have looked at that as good news that they were coming in. What are the chances of another law enforcement agency coming in to take their place in this investigation?
Well, that's a great question. I will tell you that the best day, the first time that I actually thought that we had an investigation was not the Sabine County Sheriff's Department. November 7th, that's not an investigation. Whenever November 25th that I heard the Rangers were officially coming in, that gave us hope. It gave us a great deal of hope. But having no lines of communication for the last 2 weeks is troubling. We have no more answers than we did November 25th. So my question is, if the Texas Rangers have someone who's working this case, please reach out to us. Please reach out to the family and let them know. Give them an update. If you can't give them details, that's okay, but just let them know that someone is willing to do the job. If they're not capable of doing it, then we'll have to go to the next step. Anyone who is out there who is willing to help, and I should have said this earlier, anyone who's willing to help, whether you're a member of the public, whether you're a member of law enforcement, whether you're a member of the government, anyone who is here who has heard about Alfred Wright, who cares about this family and justice for him, please, if you know anything, speak out. If you can help us, speak out.
Is there any other detail you can provide about the preliminary autopsy results other than the high suspicion of homicide? Any other specifics on what was found on the body or anything like that?
Well, my examination was limited due to the somewhat advanced decomposition of the body and due to the fact that it was a second autopsy, but I did see findings that were suspicious for homicidal violence.
That's all you can give?
That's all I can do.
And I'll tell you, the reasoning for that is that our hope is that law enforcement has not given up, okay? And we want to share Dr. Grossberg's findings. We want for Dr. Grossberg to be able to communicate with whoever she can communicate with to give this family more answers and to assist law enforcement. And coming out with what she has right now would be speculation. It would be rumor. She has a job to do. She wants to seek the truth just like we do.
I want to say thank you for the Burnson Law Firm, for what you guys are doing, for your work, for your labor, and for all of that. But my question is, has anyone contacted the Department of Justice? A matter like this, in this state, is going to be questionable to me with every level of law enforcement. Because it's relationships. We need someone from outside of the state and the region to come in and to look at this. Because this is just not, you have clues and then you have content that's definitely letting you know something is wrong. And so without it, we don't have to be a scientist. We just need someone to pick up your letter, your findings, and hopefully answer some questions. And those questions answered are going to give us more questions to ask. But we can't go any further without doing that, I don't think.
And I'm sorry, sir, I didn't...
John Adolph, I'm sorry.
Mr. Adolph, Reverend Adolph, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being here.
It's an honor.
And I will tell you, I agree with you. When we first asked the Bean County Sheriff's Department to get some other law enforcement agency involved, you talk to the Rangers will always tell you, well, a district attorney or a law enforcement agency has to request for us to come in. I've been doing this long enough, I've been writing those letters long enough asking for them to get involved, that each time they tell me, well, law enforcement has to ask for this. And you're right, I want the FBI to come in.
Right.
That's what I want.
It should be.
But law enforcement has to make that call. If the Rangers can't do it, they need to call the FBI. If the FBI wants to step in, today's the day. We are ready. This is incredible to me. Torrey Hunt, Mr. Hunt is here, Reverend Lewis. They were actually there. They actually found Alfred Wright's body. Okay? No one from law enforcement, no one from the Sheriff's Department, no one from the Texas Rangers, no one has ever taken a formal statement from these gentlemen. If I'm handling this case on law enforcement or as a prosecutor, that is the first thing I'm doing. I need to know that. I need to know what you saw and when you saw it. The other part that is just as troubling is that Miss Wright, Coach Wright, Lauren Wright, no one has ever taken a formal statement from any of them. No one has ever called and said, Lauren, I want you to come into my office, here's a tape recorder, and I want you to tell us what happened. I don't want a story, I want to know what happened. No one's ever done that. And that is troubling. We've done that. I've done that. Okay? But no one from law enforcement has ever done that. And I hope that the light is shining. I hope the light is shining on the Sabine County Sheriff's Department and their mishandling of this from the get-go. I hope that the Texas Rangers are aware that we're watching. We will not go away. We will give up. We will do nothing to impede law enforcement, but I will be a continuous thorn in your side to make sure that the job is done. If the FBI will step in, we will do anything in our power to cooperate with them. Thank you, Reverend.
You keep pointing to the area's history. Are you saying or are you implying that there may be racial motivations to this incident?
I will tell you that I'm not blind, okay? And the family's not blind, this community's not blind, but I'm also not going to speculate. I don't think that it's fair to this family to speculate right now. There are hundreds of different theories that could come out on this, okay? There are hundreds of different theories. I'm a lawyer, right? My job is to work with facts. And until I have those facts, I'm not here to speculate. I'm here to tell you what I know and most importantly, what I don't know.
Irma and Thomas, I have a question, please. What as a community can we do to take a concerted action? Who should we call? Can we get a list of who we should call, some numbers so we can distribute it, and we'll just ring. I think if we get all that going, that may have an impact, and like to know, hey, if you can give it to me, I'll make sure that it kind of gets distributed.
Yes, Ryan's done a great job. What I would say is, for the public, one, Ryan's already mentioned it. If you know something about this case at all, at least call our. We don't know right now who is in charge of the investigation. That is a sad thing. We don't know. But if someone does know something about this case,